بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا وهدى وتقى ورشادا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم فقهنا في الدين وعلمنا التأويل. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع، من قلب لا يخشع، من نفس لا تشبع، ومن دعوة لا تسمع. نعوذ بك اللهم من هؤلاء الأربع. أما بعد، فحياكم الله جميعا. درس الخامس شرح خلاصة تعظيم العلم. طيب، فيما مضى يا إخواننا نأخذ نعم لحظة. طيب، نأخذ مراجعة سريعة لما مضى من هذا الكتاب. What we have learned previously in this book. Let's take a quick مراجعة, quick revision of it. طيب، درسنا إلى الآن 14 معقدا, 14 fundamentals so far. طيب, we said in the previous dars that the first 11 fundamentals are interrelated. The first is related to second, third with the fourth, fifth with the sixth, 7 and 8, 9, 10 and 11 are all interrelated now. طيب, so what was the first معقد يا إخوان? First fundamental, what was it?
Cleansing of the vessel of knowledge.
أحسنت. And the one related to it, the one next to it was? The one after it.
Sincerity of the intention of the pursuit of knowledge.
So يعني تطهير وعاء العلم, to cleanse the vessel of knowledge. And from cleansing the vessel of knowledge is to ensure that your niyyah, your intention is only to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. طيب, ممتاز جدا. What was المعقد الثالث?
Gathering one's determination for ilm.
And number 4 was يعني directing that determination mostly into Quran and Sunnah. طيب. Now when you نعم. So when it comes to memorizing these ma'aqid, these will be matlub in the test, in the exam, in the assessment. It will be asked, yani you will be asked to write down these ma'aqid, not all of them, but yani 12, 13 of them. The best way of memorizing it, barakallahu feek, will be to yani give it a yani smaller heading. مثلا, the first one you say cleansing, number 2 intention. طيب, cleansing, intention, interrelated. The rest you can complete by yourself. Number 3 you can put مثلا himma, determination. Then number 4 determination, Quran and Sunnah. هكذا تكتب العناوين. You write the headings like this to be for you to be able to memorize it in a better way يعني إن شاء الله. طيب, ماذا كان المعقد الخامس؟
سلوك الجادة الموصلة إليه.
أحسنت, سلوك الجادة الموصلة إليه. أحسنت, فتح الله عليك. والمعقد السادس أيضا يعني له علاقة ما بالمعقد الخامس. It is also يعني relatively related to the fifth one. And what is the sixth one?
And to devote attention to all its arts and requirements.
نعم. And in this one as well, the Shaykh had mentioned سلوك الجادة. So when he mentioned سلوك الجادة الموصلة إليه, to يعني tread on the very path that leads you to ilm, he mentions the importance of learning the beginner text for beginners initially, and then moving on to the more advanced books. Then when he comes to the al-Maqid al-Sadis, when he encourages us to take from all different sciences, he again emphasizes and stresses on this very point that in every science you should at least take and learn the texts that have been authored for the beginners. نعم. أحسنت. المعقد السابع والثامن ماذا كان؟ السابع and ثامن, 7 and 8.
To hasten to acquiring it and
يعني to avail your time. If you are still a youth, avail your youth and don't wait. Do not يعني apply or practice taswif and ta'mil. Taswif is like to sofa. I will do it in the future. I will. لا تفعل هكذا. Whatever time you have right now, the opportunity that you have, avail it. And number 8 was that it doesn't mean that you are supposed to be in a rush when it comes to acquiring knowledge. Rather, it means that you should start availing your time as soon as you can, but the process of acquiring knowledge must be gradual. You should commence as soon as possible, but the process must be gradual. أحسنت. المعقد التاسع والعاشر.
To be perseverant in acquiring and propagating it.
as well. أحسنت. observing patience generally, and then in المعقد العاشر he mentions a very specific type of patience, that is the patience with your sheikh. When you are attending to your sheikh, how to observe adab with him, and etc. طيب, so التاسع والعاشر. And what is الحادي عشر? Again, the 11th one is also related to adab, that is صيانة العلم عما يشين, to preserve and protect your ilm from that which is considered as blameworthy and something that is disliked in the society, to protect yourself and your knowledge from that. طيب? So all of these are related to adab. All of these are related to adab. So 9, 10, 11 are also interrelated. Now, في الدرس الماضي, in the last dars, we learned المعقد الثاني عشر والمعقد الثالث عشر والمعقد الرابع عشر. أما المعقد الثاني عشر, that was related to the companionship that you choose for yourself. It is important to have some companion in your pursuit of knowledge, because it is in the nature of man that he cannot do without companions. So if that is the case, then he should choose for himself those companions and friends who would benefit him, and who he would benefit from, not people who are من المجان والأراذل, the lowly, or by lowly we mean lowly in their adab and their khuluq, and the while, or people who who lack adab, totally lack adab, and they are away from the religion. These are not the sort of people that he should accompany, otherwise he will hurt and harm himself. إن المعقد الثالث عشر ذكر الشيخ بذل الجهد في تحفظ العلم والمذاكرة به والسؤال عنه. طيب, هنا in this chapter the Sheikh mentions the importance of three things, and he gives an example, and I'll put the question to you. He gives an example that it is like planting a tree. He gives the example of planting a tree and watering it, and cultivating it. So what is planting the tree here, and what is equivalent to watering it, and what is cultivation of the tree? Now, he mentions three things.
Memorization is planting.
أحسنت.
Revision is watering it, and
Okay,
questioning it is cultivating it.
Questioning it, or asking questions related to it. Questioning it is like more like objecting it. You're not objecting it طبعا. Rather you're asking questions about it. ممتاز جدا. طيب, very good. إذا نبدأ الآن. بارك الله فيكم. لحظة. نعم باقي الناقد الرابع عشر was إكرام أهل العلم وتوقيرهم, to respect them, to venerate the people of knowledge. نعم. This, alhamdulillah, we went through it. I have no questions with regards to this. There's one thing that I wanted to revise with you, and that was the adab of rectifying a mistake committed by a sheikh. What was the adab taught by the sheikh here? He said that there are 6 matters that you should take into consideration when it comes to the zallat al-alim, the mistake of an alim. طبعا an alim who is a scholar طبعا. So what are the 6 things that you must observe?
To confirm that a mistake has been committed by him. That it is an error, and this is the job of a scholar.
To judge and determine whether it is actually an error and a mistake, or it's just being thought that so, or it's being perceived so. Now, Mumtaz.
What else? To follow him in that mistake of his.
Mumtaz. Okay, you don't stop following him in that mistake. You're not supposed to, it's not the respect of the alim. Doesn't mean that you have to follow him in his mistakes. Mumtaz. Number 4.
To seek an excuse for him with a suitable explanation,
Mumtaz. Mumtaz. To seek some excuse for him. Naam.
and to like tell him politely and in person and not harshly.
And gently tell him and not, don't tell him in a harsh way, so that it is more, it is easier for him to to listen to your nasiha and accept it. And finally, to preserve
His
his
honor and his
ahsan and
status in the
status
heart of
in
the
the hearts of the
Muslims.
Muslims, because he's an alim. People need him. So if you dishonor him and you remove him from his rank and position, then people don't have, they wouldn't look up to him and they wouldn't take from him the guidance they require the most. And this is like, for example, if you tarnish the image of a doctor. مثلا, there is only one doctor in the whole village, and you say this doctor is corrupt and he is someone who is not qualified enough, etc., while he wasn't so, or he, there was a genuine mistake that he made and wasn't because he's unqualified, etc., then you will harm the people much, because now they will lose their trust in the doctor and they wouldn't benefit from his services anymore. So likewise is the matter with an alim, that if you destroy his image in the hearts of the people for some mistake that he committed, then you are depriving the people of lots of khair, depriving the people of lots of khair. نعم. نبدأ الآن بالمعقد الخامس عشر. يلا من يقرأ؟
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله. حي الله بالقارئ. نعم. ما شاء
Shaykhna,
الله.
before we start, I just have a
نعم.
quick question regarding the 14th fundamental,
نعم.
if it's okay to ask.
تفضل تفضل. Absolutely.
So my question is like, first of all, who is kind of, who has that qualification to be called an alim? And secondly, these days you see people using this principle that a mistake has been committed in public, so it should be rectified in public. I mean, where is the line drawn? I know it's like a very broad in scope, this question, but it's very kind of goes with the current trends and the way things are, especially with the online, scene.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a very important question. Now, the thing is, who is to be considered an alim and who is to be considered outside of the boundary of an alim, or someone who doesn't belong to the Ahl Sunnah in the first place, let alone we consider him an alim. So this is important. See, first of all, before going after anyone, it is important to realize how much the people of his land need him. So this is a point and a factor that Shaykh al-Islam Taymiyya also took into consideration when he said that it is permissible to take from a person of bid'ah if there is no other alim on that land. You see? Now, the thing is, it's the need of the people that is most important to look into, first of all. When you're trying to judge whether to bring this alim down or not to bring him down. Now, in today's time, usually the methodology is anyone who commits a mistake, as long as he's a new da'i or he's a new someone who he does not follow my mashayikh, or who does not sit with my mashayikh, I have to bring him down. That's the principle these days. The people are lurking, subhanallah, they're in ambush they're just waiting for him to make a mistake and to bring him down. طبعا this manhaj is fasid. This is absolute nonsense. This is bringing someone down or not bringing him down. It all depends on al-masalih al-mafasid. What are the benefits gained from this, and what are the harms that you avoid through this? If the harms are more than the benefits, let's say that you deprive the people of ilm, you deprive the people, you cause differences amongst them, you divide the masses then this is absolutely foolish to bring someone down. That is and this is as far as the jarh and ta'deel is concerned. It goes back, it totally is reliant upon masalih and mafasid, interests, benefits and harms. You have to weigh them, and then you decide whether this alim should be brought down or not, or the speaker should be brought down or not, or only should we only be busy in rectifying his mistakes and correcting it. Okay, because whenever you with regards to the mistake of an alim or a da'i or whoever, you have two options. You have the option number three options, in fact. You contact him and tell him to rectify his mistake. If he does that, that's the best of all. Number two is to just merely, with adab and with respect and in a nice way, rectify his mistake. And if fulan, he's an alim, he's a scholar, he's mashallah qualified, etc. Just like everyone commits mistake, he also slipped on this particular subject, and this is the haqq with regards to it, and while striving to preserve his status, And number three is to bring him down. Bringing someone down is only when his dalal and when his deviance is greater than his khair, and the harm that he's causing to the people is much greater than the benefit, and if you want to save the people from the harm. So usually bringing down someone should be the job of the senior most ulama, who can judge and determine the masalih and mafasid, and who are living in that particular land. This is difficult. This is a difficult job. But what you can always do is rectify the mistakes. Right. Now, when it comes to the first question, there was who is the one who is considered an alim, or who should we be considering, or when should we be considering an alim? Wallahi, a very subjective word, alim. It's very subjective. It's difficult to draw a line, but at least we can go try to نقرب ونسدد نسدد ونقارب. ف Allahu a'lam. One of the things that can be said about an alim is, first of all, one of the greatest signs is someone who is considered an alim by the other ulama. Now again, we're getting into a dawr, okay, then who is considered an alim, or how to judge who are those ulama, or how do we know that the ones who consider him an alim are ulama? This is something that automatically, subhanallah, happens. This is how it has been happening throughout the centuries. Mathalan, the a'imma of the muhaddithin, they are so well known that people don't ask others that whether Imam Ahmad is he a muhaddith, is he a da'if rawi, or is he a thiqa rawi? Is Imam al-Shafi'i da'if or thiqa? Is Imam Malik da'if or thiqa? No one asks this, because they are so famous for their prowess in their fields that they are khalas considered ulama. So if people like them in our times, mathalan, if the kibar or ulama, they consider someone an alim, this is one of the greatest signs as an alim. Secondly, what are the other things that you are supposed to look into an alim? One of the most important factors is being upon the aqidah of the salaf in general. It's the sahaba and the tabi'in. This is extremely important. By aqidah, I mean generally being upon the aqidah of salaf, and not that he has to, if he makes one mistake in aqidah, or he goes against a single point from the methodology of the salaf, then he has to be thrown away and brought down. La khata. But generally, he should be upon the methodology of the salaf when it comes to the aqidah. Number one. This is as far as his aqidah is concerned. With regards to hadith and fiqh, he should have some knowledge in, and it depends on what is his specialization. Mathalan, if he is a specialist in tafsir, then you will consider him an alim only in tafsir, and you will not take fiqh from him. If it is, mathalan, he's considered a specialist in fiqh, then he might have some strange opinions when it comes to tafsir. So you consider him an alim of the field that he has specialized in. One of the signs of his specialization is degrees that he has obtained. These are also helpful in judging whether someone specializes in something or not. Another one of the signs is who has he يعني who has he been nurtured by, and who is the one whom he attended to the most. So مثلا if someone is يعني let us say يعني specialist in fiqh and he has attended to مثلا الشيخ محمد المختار الشنقيطي a lot, or let us say يعني الشيخ عامر بهجت in our times from the contemporaries, or Sheikh Saad al-Khaflan, etc. And just giving some examples, some names. Someone who has spent time with them. Yani, this is also one of the signs that he is someone who has, mashallah, he was well versed with fiqh. With tafsir, likewise, you need to look into whom he has attended to, and so in order to judge whether he's well versed or not. So, but yani, the question actually was that when do we consider an alim and give him these rights that the Shaykh is mentioning here? This is wallahi a difficult question. However, the thing that I can contribute with regards to the answer to this question is that you have to look at the haja wa lahza. You have to look into the haja, the need of the people who are taking ilm from him. And if they are in need of him, then you have to give him these rights, because yani, otherwise they will be deprived of the religion. This will cause weakness to them in the religion. So let us say that there is a society. So if the people are in need of him, let's say he is in a place where there is no one except this talib ilm. This talib ilm, this student of knowledge, is the only one who is looking after the religious education of the people in that particular area. Now here you have to give him the rights of an alim. Why? Because he is the only source of light for them. So if you bring him down in the eyes of the people of that particular area, then you're depriving the people of whatever little benefit they were gaining from him, and you're also causing differences amongst them. So after you have brought him down and highlighted his errors and humiliated him in front of people, there will be two types of people. People who out of blind love for him, they will keep supporting him, or they will go so far to ignore even his mistakes and follow him even in his batil. And then there will be people who will listen to you. So the society also becomes, you also have cause division amongst the Muslims there. فالذي يظهر that when you are, if you are asking when to give someone these rights, you have to look at the need of the people for such a person. If the people require him for their religion, for their khair, then you have to preserve his image and his rank, so that people keep benefiting and their ranks are not divided. And if you have a lot of better replacements, let's say a village where there are five people of knowledge, and one of them is committing a lot of mistakes, then you can ask him and ask the people to stop attending to him, because you have a substitute. You have four other people you can attend to and learn from. So why the need to attend to a person who is making so many mistakes and misguiding people? But if you have less options, then the standard goes down. Now, I hope I was able to clarify a little bit of what you were looking for.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. It does shed light on a lot of the questions I had in my mind.
Inshallah, but to draw a line for an alim, difficult, very difficult. It varies from time to time. Previous times, a hafiz would be considered an alim, someone who has so memorized these many hadith, etc. In our times, the standard has gone much low. طيب من يقرأ؟
شيخ رادد.
يا نعم اقرأ، تفضل يا أخي.
نعم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، قال المصنف حفظه الله: المعقد الخامس عشر رد مشكله إلى أهله. فالمعظم للعلم يعول على دهاكنته والجهابذة من أهله لحل مشكلاته، ولا يعرض نفسه لما لا تطيق خوفا من القول على الله بلا علم والافتراء على الدين، فهو يخاف سقطة الرحمن قبل أن يخاف سقط السلطان. فإن العلماء بعلم تكلموا وببصر نافذ سكتوا، فإن تكلموا في مشكل فتكلم بكلامهم، وإن سكتوا عنه فليسع كما وسعهم.
And here he says, الشيخ رحمه الله حفظه الله يقول رد مشكله إلى أهله. The difficult issues, the ambiguous issues, the issues of great importance that people are confused about, you should refer back to the ulama with regards to these issues. فالمعظم للعلم, the one who really respects ilm, what does he do? He depends on the dahaqina and jahabida. Dahaqina is jam'u dihqan. It's the plural of dihqan. Plural of dihqan, yani those people who are the masters and the experts, dihqan, yani, and the one who is able to process the decisions very quickly, process the matter and reach a solution very quickly. This sort of a person is called dihqan. يعني سريع التصرف مع حدة. He's wise and he's quick in judgment. والجهابذة is the jam of jihbidh. Jihbidh. And jihbidh is someone who is يعني an expert of his field. This is called jihbidh. The one who knows the fine, subtle matters. The fine matters, the subtle matters, he knows them. Like a Sayrafi, مثلا, the one who the person who is expert in dealing with gold, if you show to him gold that is fake, he would when he right away instantly identify that this is not, we would recognize it's fake. He might not be able to express to you how did he know that, but he's an expert of his field. So it's the jahabida, jam'u jihbidh, the expert of one's field who knows the fine, the subtle matters. Now, so the one who respects knowledge, he depends and he refers back to the dahaqina and the jahabida of the Ahl al-Ilm to solve for him the difficult matters, the matters of ambiguity. لحظة أنا 1 second. الله المستعان. طيب. لحل مشكلاته ولا يعرض نفسه لما لا يطيق. Just correct this. It's not تطيق. It must be يطيق. يعرض نفسه, because he's talking about the third person. He does not indulge himself into something that he cannot bear. He's like, Bismillah. 1 second, please. نعم. خوفا من القول على الله بلا علم. Out of fear of saying and attributing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala something without knowledge. Because this is the worst of sins. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, قُلْ إِنَّمَا حَرَّمَ رَبِّيَ الْفَوَاحِشَ مَا ظَهَرَ مِنْهَا وَمَا بَطَنَ وَالْإِثْمَ وَالْبَغْيَ بِغَيْرِ الْحَقِّ. And Allah tell them that Allah has made forbidden for me the following things. Al-fawahish, obscene matters. ما ظهر منها وما بطن والإثم, sin, والبغي بغير الحق, oppression, unjust oppression. نعم. وأن تشركوا بالله ما لم ينزل به سلطانا, and to associate partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for which he has given no dalil. And then وأن تقولوا على الله ما لا تعلمون, and to say an attribute to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala something that you don't know of. Now if you observe here, the ayah goes from the lightest to the gravest sins. Al-fawahish, al-ithm, al-baghi, oppression. After baghi, وَأَن تُشْرِكُوا, shirk. Now it's getting graver. وَأَن تَقُولُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. So the greatest of emphasis was put in this ayah on وَأَن تَقُولُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ, to attribute Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala something that you don't have knowledge of. والافتراء على الدين, to lie upon the religion. Wallahi, this is something that is عظيم. Yani one of the ulama, he says that before issuing any fatwa or answering some question, he should look into what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will treat him, and how he will he reward him or punish him, what will his what will the consequences of this will be in the akhirah. He should imagine this first and then answer and respond to the question. So this is the hal, this is the state of a person who is mu'azzim lil-ilm, who really respects and reveres knowledge. He will be fearful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before speaking up. And always la adri, saying la adri is not a matter of dishonor. It's not something that you will be considered less honorable or less reputable for. La adri, wallahi, it will only increase you in your rank. La adri will increase you in your rank. But when you answer something and you respond to a question, or you say something with regards to knowledge without ilm, and wrongly attributed to the Sharia, there is no disgrace greater than this. There is no disgrace greater than this, to talk without ilm. To say la adri, wallahi, it's respect, it's honor, it's a raise in your rank. But to talk without ilm, and those who know that you are speaking without knowledge, wallahi, there is no greater disgrace than this, when they know that you are attributing to the Sharia without ilm, and you are not fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فهو يخاف سخطة الرحمن قبل أن يخاف صوت السلطان. He fears the wrath of Allah before he fears being punished by the ruler, because the ruler can also punish him for speaking up without ilm. But he is more fearful of Allah than the worldly punishment from the ruler. فإن العلماء بعلم تكلموا. For ulama, when they speak, they with the knowledge do they speak. بعلم تكلموا وببصر نافذ سكتوا. And when they keep silent, they keep silent with deep insight. It's because of great hikmah that they keep silent. فإن تكلموا في مشكل فتكلم بكلامهم. If they have mentioned something about a matter of great importance which is ambiguous and people are confused about, then take what they have said, and also you also say what they are saying. وإن سكتوا, and if they have kept quiet, فليسعك ما وسعهم, then you should also what was enough for them as a reason to keep silent, then that should also be the reason for you to keep silent. And one of the examples of this is مثلا when coronavirus had first started spreading, there was an issue, there was a lot of confusion around that was whether we are supposed to leave spaces amongst the musallin, the ma'mumin, and the salat al-jama'ah or not, or are we supposed to pray at home? And is it better to pray in the masjid while leaving spaces, or is it better to pray at home and not pray like this? So now this is a mas'ala, this is a nazila that had all the people confused. What to do in this situation? طيب. If the ulama have said something, follow them and say what they are saying. But do not speak without ilm. Alhamdulillah, with time, things became clear. The ulama spoke, they clarified the issue, and they said that leaving space, this is indeed, it is wrong in its own sense. It's not permissible. However, because of the darura, because of compulsion, we are allowed to do so, and it is better to establish the prayer in the masjid, to pray in the mosque and have it in congregation, than to then ta'til of the masajid, than to just leave and abandon the masajid. So abandoning the masajid was a greater harm than leaving spaces amongst the musallin. Now, who clarified this for us? The ulama who researched this issue and looked up, and once it was clarified, alhamdulillah. It wasn't clarified, go with them. If they are silent, you also keep silent, you go along, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not hold you accountable for it. نعم. اقرأ يا أخي. ومن أشق المشكلات
ومن أشق المشكلات الفتن الواقعة والنوازل الحادثة التي تتكاثر مع امتداد الزمن. والناجون من نار الفتن السالمون من وهج المحن هم من فزع إلى العلماء ولزم قولهم، وإن اشتبه عليه شيء من قولهم أحسن الظن بهم فبرح قوله وأخذ بقولهم. فالتجربة والخبرة هم كانوا أحق بها وأهلها، وإذا اختلفت أقوالهم لزم قول جمهورهم وسوادهم إيثارا للسلامة، والسلامة لا يعدلها شيء.
He says طيب الآن وقت الصلاة بارك الله فيكم. إن شاء الله we will explain this particular paragraph after صلاة إن شاء الله. The صلاة is about to start now. طيب نقف هنا الآن ونشرح هذه الفقرة بعد الصلاة بإذن الله. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، صلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، فقال المصنف حفظه الله: من أشق المشكلات هي الفتن الواقعة والنوازل الحادثة التي تتكاثر مع امتداد الزمن. One of the most difficult of issues are الفتن الواقعة. The fitan that occur, fitna is test. And why is it, what fitna means? Literally it means test, and test is test and tribulation. Now, why is it considered a tribulation? Because people cannot know and distinguish the haqq from the batil whenever the fitna is there. So this is why, this is how it is a test. والنوازل الحادثة. Nazila is referred to those, it either refers to some musiba, some disaster or some problem that has occurred. Nazil, then nazarat, كأنها نزلت, any musiba that has descended upon us, befallen us. It either refers to some sort of a musiba, calamity, adversity, or it refers to an issue that is new to the fiqh of Islam. Yeah, so these are called nawazil. Nazila and nazila is the mufrad, and nawazil is its plural. So nawazil are those issues that are contemporary and new issues that have occurred for the first time, and then the ulama have to determine a ruling with regards to them. So this is the meaning of nawazil. Al-haditha allati tatakathar ma'a imtidad al-zaman, which increase. And tatakathar, he's not saying takthur. Takthur is just a normal increase. Tatakathar is like an exaggerated form of increase again and again, and more and more. Ma'a imtidad al-zaman, with the passing of time. Now, the later the generation is, the more the fitan will there occur in that generation, and the more they will have to face the nawazil, new issues in which they have to determine the rulings. Now, وَالنَّاجُونَ مِنْ نَارِ الْفِتَنِ, those who are safe. Najun jam'u naji. And naji is the one who has attained najah or najat. Najah means to escape from something. So najun is the jam' of naji, and naji is the one who naja yanju najatan, the one who has escaped. وَالنَّاجُونَ مِنْ نَارِ الْفِتَنِ, from the fire of fitan, of tribulations. السَّالِمُونَ مِنْ وَهَجِ الْمِحَنِ, and the ones who are safe from the heat of mihan. Mihan jam'u mihna. Mihna. Al-mihanu jam'u mihna. And mihna refers to, again, test and tribulation. And minhu al-imtihan. Imtihan, we use the word imtihan for tests and examinations because it is the same. It has the same root as mihna. Mihna also means test and tribulation. Now, wahajil mihan, who are the ones who are safe and who escape the fire of fitan? The ones who race to and run to the ulama. Hum man fazi'a ila al-ulama'i wa lazima qawlahum. The one who adhere to the ulama, they stick to the ulama and they remain with them and adhere to what they say. Because when the fitna occurs, you have two options: either be confused like the rest of the people, or go with what the ulama go. The ulama will, if not the best, but at least they'll take the safest route possible for them. The safest route possible, the safest option that is available, that is what they will take. Because of their understanding of the deen, they at least know how to limit the damage if they cannot prevent it altogether. But if you are lost for guidance in a fitna, like the fitna مثلا of the Dawa'ish or the Daesh, when ISIS, this organization came up, there was fitna. Fitna means people don't know whether it's upon haqq or upon batil. At the beginning, and everyone loves that there may be a state or Islamic state that unites all of the ummah, and it implements the Sharia. Everyone loves that. So because of this, there was a lot of appeal to this state, صح? But then there was also a lot of doubts, and that because they were killing innocent people, etc. So now when you are unable to determine, stay with the ulama. The ulama at the start, they were quiet, they were silent, they were looking into the matter, and then after judging them, after witnessing their actions, they came to the ruling that these people are perhaps the Khawarij of our time. So they warned against them. Now the one who was very zealous, he left the ulama and he said that they are the ulama of Sultan, they are the ulama of the rulers, and they say what the rulers tell them to do, etc. And he, out of his zeal, joined the ranks of this organization, and then he was he was taught the wrong things, and perhaps he was even made to kill innocent people, etc. And he destroyed his akhirah. So in the fitan, stay quiet, stay in your homes, don't do much. Okay, if this was something bad and you wanted to do inkar of it, it's no harm if you did not do inkar, because if you did not denounce this evil because you didn't know, there is no harm in this. If this was something good, you can join the good later. كما قال ابن مسعود رضي الله عنه, if I remember correctly, Ibn Mas'ud, he says لأن أكون تابعا في الخير أحب إلي من أكون رأسا في الشر. And it is more beloved to me to be a follower, a late comer, the one who joins late in something that is good, than to be the head of the evil. Now when there is fitna and you're eager to go and dive into the fitna, you want to become the head, you want to take surpass all the rest, but it might be shar, you don't know, and you will end up being the head of the shar. So wait until things become clear. When the fitna ends, everything becomes clear. Things become clear. If it is goodness, you can join it later, ما في مشكلة. But do not be a ras of shar. Abstain and avoid being the head of the shar. طيب, قال هم من فزع إلى العلماء ولزم قولهم وإن اشتبه عليه شيء من قولهم أحسن الظن بهم. And if he is confused about something from their opinion and stance, he practices husn al-dhan with them. He has positive, he thinks positively of them, rather than saying that شايف تنظر هذا عالم سلطان, he is the scholar of the ruler, and he follows the ruler only, and he is not sincere with Allah, and he is لا تسيء الظن بالعلماء, but أحسن الظن. And فطرح قوله وأخذ بقوله. And the حسن الظن also requires you to stay to adhere to their stance, and to stick with it, even if you think that your opinion is better, but because of their experience, فالتجربة والخبرة, because of their experience, which they are more worthy of, they have more experience than you, they are in a better position to judge. طبعا, when we say this, we don't mean that you should, this is the opinion of a group of scholars, or the majority of scholars, the majmu' of scholars. We're not saying that there is no one scholar who can not make a who can't make a mistake, or every scholar does not make a mistake and you have to stick to his opinions. La. What we are saying is that if there is an opinion formed by a group of scholars of your place and time, and the majority are going along, then you have to adhere, you should adhere to their opinion and stick with it. لكن مثلا إذا اختلف العلماء, and you have 10 ulama in your city and 9 are saying one thing, and or let's say 8 are saying something and the other 2 are saying another thing. Now you go with the 8 because it is the guidance is in the majority, the guidance is in the group of scholars. Just like when we say, when the Prophet ﷺ says khayrul quruni qarni or khayru ummati qarni, the best of the people are my generation, thumma alladhina yalunahum thumma alladhina yalunahum, then the next and the next. It doesn't mean that each one of them is infallible. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that each and whatever a Sahabi or a Tabi'i says, it must be 100% haqq. But what does it mean? It means that the group of the Salaf, the Sahaba as a whole, the Tabi'in as a whole, they are upon the haqq. So if there is a stance that has been taken by the Tabi'in as a whole, by the Sahaba as a whole, that is haqq without a doubt. But if there is one Sahabi who says something, the rest are not holding the same stance, then it is very much possible that he is mistaken with regards to it. Now, so likewise, when it comes to adhering to the ulama, what does it mean? Adhering to the qawl of one alim? La, we're saying the ulama as a whole. If there is a stance that has been taken by the ulama as a whole, that's what you follow, and you leave out the shadh and the shadh and the opinions that are alien to what they're saying. نعم. نعم. وإذا اختلفت أقوالهم لزم قول جمهورهم وسوادهم. And subhanallah, this is the very point that the Shaykh is making here. إذا اختلفت أقوال العلماء, if they are upon one stance, that's fine, خلاص, you are with them. If they are differing, لزم قول جمهورهم وسوادهم, he goes with the majority of the scholars in the fitna. When it comes to the fitna, in fiqhi issues, you don't have to go with the majority always. But when there is fitna, stay with the majority, because the haqq and the safety is with the majority. إِثَارًا لِلسَّلَامَةِ. Why? To give preference to preferring his safety. إِثَارًا لِلسَّلَامَةِ. إِثَار, to give preference to something over another. So إِثَارًا لِلسَّلَامَةِ, to give preference to salama, to your safety. فَالسَّلَامَةُ لَا يَعْدِلُهَا شَيْءٌ. For safety, there's nothing equal to it and nothing as important as it. لا يعدلها, there is nothing equal to it. عدل يعدل, to become equal to something. نعم. اقرأ يا أخي. وما أحسن قول ابن عاصم في مرتقى الوصول.
وما أحسن قول ابن عاصم في مرتقى الوصول. واجب في مشكلات الفهم تحسين الظن بأهل العلم، ومن جملة المشكلات رد زلات العلماء والمقالات الباطلة لأهل البدع والمخالفين، فإنما يتكلم فيها العلماء الراسخون، بينه الشاطبي في الموافقات وابن رجب في جامع العلوم والحكم. فالجادة السالمة عرضها على العلماء الراسخين والامتساك بقولهم فيها.
أحسنت، فتح الله عليك يا أخي. وما أحسن قول ابن عاصم في مرتقى الوصول. What a beautiful saying that he says, وواجب في مشكلات الفهم, in matters that are ambiguous, difficult to understand. مشكل here means something أن أشكل علي, that it is difficult for me to understand. I'm confused with regards to it. مشكلات الفهم, that are difficult to understand. What is our wajib? Our wajib is تحسين الظن بأهل العلم, to have a good thought and think positively of the people of knowledge. ومن جملة المشكلات رد زلات العلماء. And from amongst these difficult matters, ambiguous, difficult to understand, are the رد زلات العلماء, to refute the mistakes. زلة means to slip. زلات يعني the mistakes of the ulama. والمقالات الباطلة أهل البدع والمخالفين, and the false opinions. مقالات يعني the opinions, and it's maqal is the meaning of maqal is qawl. Maqal and qawl are the same thing. المقالات يعني الأقوال الباطلة والمقالات الباطلة لأهل البدع والمخالفين, and the false opinions of the people of bid'ah and the مخالفين and the adversaries. فإنما يتكلم فيها العلماء الراسخون. It is the job of the well-grounded scholars in knowledge to speak with regards to these matters. And whenever a person who is an ignorant speaks, he causes more harm than benefit. He causes more harm than benefit. طيب ما واجبك أنت يا طالب العلم تجاه هذا الخطأ وهذه الزلة التي وقعت من العالم? What is your stance? What is your job when an alim has fallen into a mistake or he has slipped somewhere? If you are certain that it's a khata, then if there is another alim who has already mentioned and rectified the mistake, then you can share what he has said. But if there is no one who is correcting his mistake, and you fear that the people might follow him in his mistake, rectify the mistake. Don't bring down the alim, because you are not in a very good position to judge whether is it time to bring him down or not. Okay, so I can see مثلا now just like Brother Ali before Maghrib, he mentioned like it's the age of YouTube, it's the age of the internet. A lot of du'at are there on the internet. طيب, some are benefiting, some also have some harms. Say they have some wrong concepts or bad adab that they spread. Now what you can do يا إخوان at least is مثلا يعني those who are around you or those who listen to you, you can tell them the mistakes that they might be committing مثلا, if they are following that particular da'i or kada. I don't have to bring him down, and rectify the mistake in the most beautiful of ways. Like sometimes some people at times, and I'm just giving you for example, from my own life, and sometimes some people ask me about a scholar. Now looking at that person, I know that he hardly listens to any Islamic lectures. He's hardly a mustaqim. He's hardly a person of a religious person. Yani hardly does he pray, hardly does he. Now if I also take him away from this scholar, then he is going to be in a worse state. So what should you do here in this sort of a situation? Tell him that ya akhi, mashallah, it's nice to hear that you're listening to him. Just beware this point of this alim. He makes a mistake with regards to this. Rest is inshallah fine. But if you find a talib al-ilm, مثلا, a talib al-ilm, ya akhi, you are upon istiqama, you are upon the straight path, you're religious, you have some steadfastness to you, and you also have some sense. If he tells me, مثلا, or tells you or anyone that he's following fulan ad-da'i and who has a lot of mistakes, مثلا, to tell him, يا أخي, أنت ما تحتاج أن تستفيد منه. You have better people to benefit from, and you are in a you have better options, and you have the sabr, the patience to مثلا listen to an alim who's not a very eloquent speaker. Many ulama, they're not very eloquent. Now people go after the eloquent speakers. If talib al-ilm, you have the sabr, so go with the person who's not very eloquent, but at least he's a person of haqq, and he's more steadfast, and he's a greater alim, greater knowledge. فهكذا فتحتاج أن تنظر يا أخي. You have to look into the person you are addressing and advising. What is his position? When you bring someone down, خلاص هذا الضال مضل. طيب, what's the replacement? The replacement might be someone who is even worse. This has been the case, ya akhwan. There are people who have left the religion of Islam after having seen the infighting amongst the people of knowledge. Yani every now and then, don't take from him. He is a deviant scholar. He's deviant. Fulan kada. And the new Muslims, they leave the religion sometimes because they say there is no steadfastness here. Likewise, also look at the consequence. مثلا, you bring down this alim. طيب, the situation in your country, there is a wave of liberalization. People are being liberalized. They are being secularized, and they're being taken away from this religion. If there is a person with mistakes, just mention his mistakes and warn against the mistakes. Don't bring him down. At least he was bringing people to istiqamah. At least people were upon Islam with him. You took the people away from him, and what substitute did they have? The substitute that they had was liberalism. Liberalism is zandaqa, ma'adallah. It's heresy sometimes. Yani the sort of kufr that they promote, the sort of objection that they promote for against Islam, this is sometimes kufr. What is better? Is it better to be with someone from Ahl al-Bid'ah who has some bid'ah, some mistakes in him, or is it better to be upon kufr? Wallahi, bid'ah is better than kufr. So look at the situation. Look at where the waves are moving, in which direction, in which direction the wind is blowing. So that's why bringing down an alim needs a lot of insight, needs very deep insight. It's not a light matter. It's a matter of extreme significance, and that is why only the well-grounded scholars of Rasikheen, they are the ones who should be speaking with regards to these matters. Now, ومن جملة المشكلات نعم وقال بينه الشاطبي في الموافقات وابن رجب في جامع العلوم والحكم فالجادة السالمة عرضها على العلماء الراسخين. The best way to put it forth in front of the scholars, well-grounded scholars in knowledge, والاستمساك بقولهم فيها, and to adhere to their opinion with regards to it. نعم. المعقد السادس عشر. اقرأ يا أخي.
المعقد السادس عشر توقير مجالس العلم وإجلال أوعيته. فمجالس العلماء كمجالس الأنبياء. قال سهل بن عبد الله من أراد أن ينظر إلى مجالس الأنبياء فلينظر إلى مجالس العلماء. يجيء الرجل فيقول يا فلان أي شيء تقول في رجل حلف على امرأته بكذا وكذا فيقول طلقت امرأته. ويجيء آخر فيقول ما تقول في رجل حلف على امرأته بكذا وكذا فيقول ليس يحنث بهذا القول وليس هذا إلا لنبي أو لعالم فاعرفوا لهم ذلك.
أحسنت. يقول توقير مجالس العلم, respecting and revering the gatherings of ilm, وإجلال أوعيته, and venerating and revering the people who carry knowledge, vessels of knowledge, يعني the people of knowledge, يعني علماء. فمجالس العلماء, why is that the case? Because the majalis of ulama are like the majalis of the anbiya. طيب, how are the majalis of ulama like the majalis of anbiya? He says, قال سهل بن عبد الله من أراد أن ينظر, سهل بن عبد الله التستري طبعا, من أراد أن ينظر إلى مجالس الأنبياء فلينظر إلى مجالس العلماء. He should look at the gatherings of the scholars. طيب, why? Because of what? Because of the ilm and the knowledge they have been inspired by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah has inspired to them. This ajib knowledge that has been inspired to the ulama by Allah. And he mentions why this is ajib, why this is strange. He says, يجيء الرجل فيقول, a person comes, he says, يا فلان أي شيء تقول في رجل حلف على امرأته بكذا وكذا. What do you say about a person who has taken an oath, or he has sworn that if such and such happens, his wife is divorced. He gives the fatwa, طلقت امرأته. He says his wife has been divorced. طيب. Then another one comes, ويجيء آخر فيقول ما تقول في رجل حلف على امرأته كذا وكذا. He asks a similar question in which a person would have sworn that if such and such a thing happens, my wife is divorced. مثلا, some people, especially amongst the Arabs in the olden times, they used to مثلا say that if such and such happens, my wife is divorced. مثلا, if my wife goes out of the house, she is divorced. مثلا. So if he has sworn such a thing, and it's a similar question, then he gives the fatwa, ليس يحنث بهذا القول. He has not broken his, he has not violated his oath by saying or doing such and such an act. Now, it was a similar mas'ala. I didn't give an example, a very clear example, but what the point he's trying to make here, Sahl ibn Abdullah, is that issues which are very similar, and sometimes he gives the fatwa kada, and sometimes he gives the fatwa kada. طيب. قال وليس هذا إلا لنبي أو لعالم. Because they have been inspired by Allah, ilm, with which they can distinguish between similar issues. And there is, subhanAllah, a whole, and you can say there's a field in fiqh. It's called Ilm al-Farq or Ilm al-Furuq. And there are books that have been authored in all of the madhahib in which the differences between similar issues are mentioned. هذا يسمى علم الفروق. There is a book in fiqh حنبلي إيضاح الدلائل في الفرق بين المسائل, in which he differs between issues that are similar, but the fatwa is different. Why? Where is the distinction supposed to be made, or what was the exact difference? That's what they mentioned. This is only done by ulama who have been inspired by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's what he's saying here. He says, وَلَيْسَ هَذَا إِلَّا لِنَبِيٍّ وَلِعَالِمٍ فَعَرِفُوا لَهُمْ ذَلِكَ. So acknowledge this rank of theirs. نعم. فعلى طالب العلم
فعلى طالب العلم أن يعرف لمجالس العلم حقها فيجلس فيها جلسة الأدب ويصغي إلى الشيخ ناظرا إليه فلا يلتفت عنه من غير ضرورة ولا يضرب لضجة يسمعها ولا يعبث بيديه أو رجليه ولا يستند بحضرة شيخه ولا يتكئ على يده ولا يكثر التنحنح والحركة
أحسنت.
ولا يتكلم مع جاره وإذا عطش حفظ صوته وإذا تثاءب ستر فمه وإذا عطس حفظ صوته وإذا تثاءب ستر فمه بعد رده جهده وإذا عطس خفض صوته وإذا تثاءب ستر فمه بعد رده جهده.
ممتاز. So he just gave this example, and because to establish that the majalis of ulama are like the majalis of anbiya. Now, why is he making this point? To encourage us to observe ample adab when in the gathering of knowledge. So he says, فَعَلَى طَالِبِ الْعِلْمِ أَنْ يَعْرِفَ لِمَجَالِسِ الْعِلْمِ حَقَّهَا. He must know the rights of the gathering of ilm. So what should he do? فَيَجْلِسَ فِيهَا جِلْسَةَ الْأَدَبِ. So he should sit in the manner in a manner which is the manner of person with etiquettes. Like jilsa, this is called in الصرف مصدر الهيئة or اسم الهيئة. This is called مصدر الهيئة or اسم الهيئة. This wasn't فعلة. It refers to the way a person does something. مثلا the Prophet ﷺ says, إذا قتلتم فأحسنوا القتلة. When you kill someone or kill an animal مثلا فأحسنوا القتلة, then kill it in an excellent way. فأحسنوا القتلة. The way of killing must be excellent. يعني you should not make it suffer too much. وإذا ذبحتم فأحسنوا الذبح. And when you slaughter an animal فأحسنوا الذبح, slaughter it in an excellent way. يعني the ذبح, the way of slaughtering should be excellent. Likewise, مشية الرجل, the way he walks. مشية الرجل, the way he walks. جلسة الرجل, the way he sits. عرفتم يا أخوان? So here the Shaykh says فيجلس فيها جلسة الأدب. He sits in the way of adab, the way with the etiquette of adab, يعني the way a person of etiquettes and manners sits. ويصغي إلى الشيخ ناظرا إليه, and he listens carefully to the Shaykh while looking at him. This is important. فلا يلتفت عنه من غير ضرورة. He does not look around from the Shaykh. يعني while he's listening to the Shaykh, does not look around here and there if there is no need. ولا يضطرب لضجة يسمعها. He does not react to a ضجة. ضجة is noise. يضطرب يعني to move, react suddenly. He does not يضطرب لضجة for a noise that he hears. يسمعها. ولا يعبث بيديه أو رجليه. He doesn't play around with his 2 hands and 2 legs or 2 feet. ولا يستند بحضرة شيخه. He does not lean and recline in front of his sheikh. While the sheikh is there, he does not recline or lean to a wall or lean to a small chair, etc. Rather, he keeps his back a little bent يعني showing and expressing in demonstrating humility for the ilm that is being spread and mentioned in the majlis. ولا يتكئ على يده. He does not lean over his hand or over his arm. When you get tired, sometimes they start leaning on their arms to write. لا ما يصلح. Observe ample adab with the sheikh. ولا يكثر التنحنح والحركة. He does not clear his throat too. تنحنح is to clear your throat. تنحنح this is تنحنح. والحركة. He does not do this very often. يعني except if there is يعني need for it. ولا يتكلم مع جاره. Does not talk to his companion, the one who is next to him. وإذا عطس خفض صوته. When he sneezes, he minimizes and lowers his noise. وإذا تثاءب ستر فمه. If he is yawning, he puts a hand on his mouth. ستر, he covers his mouth. بعد رده جهده, after trying to avoid it and repel it as much as he can. بعد رده جهده. جهده يعني as much as he can. جهد الشيء يعني جهد الرجل يعني the greatest to the greatest of his ability and capability. If he is unable to still avoid it, then he puts hand on his mouth. نعم. اقرأ يا أخي. وينضم إلى
توقير مجالس العلم إجلال أوعيته التي يحفظ فيها وعمادها الكتب، فاللائق بطالب العلم صون كتابه وحفظه
لا هذا خطأ. حفظه صحيح. الصحيح حفظه كما كنت تقرأ.
وحفظه وإجلاله والاعتناء به، فلا يجعله صندوقا يحشوه بودائعه، ولا يجعله بوقا، وإذا وضعه بلطف وعناية. رمى إسحاق. Should I continue?
لا أحسبك هنا. قف هنا. وينضم إلى توقير المجالس إجلال أوعيته التي يحفظ فيها. سبحان الله أنا أخطأت هنا. Here I thought from the title of the chapter I thought by أوعية the vessels of knowledge he's referring to the ulama, but سبحان الله أخطأت أنا that by أوعية of knowledge he's referring to the books. These are by the vessels of knowledge he's referring to the books. وعمادها الكتب التي يحفظ فيها. وعمادها الكتب, the most important of which are or primarily which are the books. فاللائق بطالب العلم صون كتابه. What is the conduct of a طالب العلم with the books? How does he treat his books? صون كتابه, preserves his book. حفظه وإجلاله, protects it and respects it, gives it respect and reveres it. والاعتناء به, takes care of it. اعتناء is to take care. إجلال تعظيم. حفظ طبعا everyone knows. فلا يجعله صندوقا يحشوه بودائعه. From the respect of the books is not make it a صندوق. يعني any paper of importance you had, you put it inside the book, or you put your pen inside the book, or something important, some يعني important يعني envelope you put inside the book. لا ما يصلح. This is not a box to put things into it. ولا يجعله بوقا. He does not fold it as if he's making a horn out of it, like the small kids they do with their books. They fold the books and they make a horn out of it and they start speaking into it or shouting into it. وإذا وضعه بلطف وعناية. When he keeps it down, he puts it gently and with care. اقرأ يا أخي. رمى إسحاق بن راهويه.
نعم. رمى إسحاق بن راهويه يوما بكتاب كان في يده، فرآه أبو عبد الله أحمد بن حنبل فغضب وقال: أهكذا يفعل بكلام الأبرار؟ ولا يتكئ على الكتاب أو يضعه عند قدميه، وإذا كان يقرأ فيه على شيخ رفعه عن الأرض وحمله بيديه.
رمى إسحاق بن راهويه يوما بكتاب كان في يده. One day Ishaq ibn Rahawayh, he passed away in the year 238. He's the companion of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, one of the greatest scholars of hadith. Ishaq ibn Rahawayh, also in fiqh. فرآه أبو عبد الله أحمد بن حنبل. So his companion, his friend Ahmad ibn Hanbal saw him. He says, فغضب, he became angry at him and said, هكذا يفعل بكلام الأبرار. This is how you treat the speech and the word of the righteous people. This is how they are treated. لا أبدا. طيب ولا يتكئ على الكتاب. He shouldn't rest on the book. أو يضعه عند قدميه, or neither should he put it in his feet. Some people, they even put the Quran, because when they are attending a tafsir session مثلا, and they are following the ayat with the mushaf, they become tired, they grow tired, and they even tend to put the mushaf on the floor, on the carpet where they're sitting at. لا يا أخي ما يصلح. If you're getting tired, have sabr, have patience. طيب, some people open the mushaf in their phone while trying to follow the ayat in the lecture, and they put it on the ground as well. This is ما يصلح. As long as the Quran is appearing on your phone, as long as the Quran is appearing on the screen, you shouldn't put it on the floor. Rather, you should keep it in your lap. نعم. وإذا كان يقرأ فيه على شيخ رفعه عن الأرض وحمله بيديه. And if he is reading to a sheikh, he should not put it on the floor or put it in his lap. Rather, not even in his lap. Rather, he should pick it up in his both hands and should read to the sheikh. He should read to the sheikh. نعم. This is the adab with the kutub. لا بد منه. نعم. آخر معقد. This is the 17th معقد, this is the last chapter that we'll be reading today. نعم. اقرأ يا أخي المعقد السابع عشر.
المعقد السابع عشر الذب عن العلم والذود عن حياضه. إن للعلم حرمة وافرة توجب الانتصار له إذا تعرض لجنابه بما لا يصلح. وقد ظهر هذا الانتصار عند أهل العلم في مظاهر منها.
نعم. حسبك. هنا يقول المعقد السابع عشر الذب عن العلم, to protect ilm, defend it, and والذود عن حياضه, and also defend its sources, يعني the ulama and the books مثلا, which are which have contributed to the khair of the ummah. الآن مثلا let me give you an example. الآن فتح الباري, it's the sharh of Sahih al-Bukhari, right? Very famous. Al-Imam Ibn Hajar rahimahullah. طيب, there are some places where Ibn Hajar, because he was influenced by the Ash'ari of his time, sometimes he does the ta'wil, he interprets the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the way the Ash'ari do sometimes, because generally he's not Ash'ari. Generally the standard Ash'ari that is upon the manhaj of al-Razi and al-Juwayni, he's not that. He's generally mashallah upon the methodology of the Salaf, but in some sifat, and he ends up doing some ta'wil. طيب, الآن someone wants to bring down this book, says خلص فتح الباري ibn Hajar, but then don't read it, it's a book of deviance. لا ما يصلح. Rectify the mistakes, say that in this place there are mistakes, but don't bring it down. There's a lot of khair that was achieved through this book for the whole of the ummah. Now, some scholar through whom a lot of khair was what happened for the ummah. Don't bring him down. Rectify the mistakes. If he's being brought down, if evil things are being said about him, defend him. Say these are mistakes, but don't cross the line. نعم. إن للعلم حرمة وافرة. نعم. توجب الانتصار إذا تعرض لجنابه بما لا يصلح. For ilm there is ample sanctity, which necessitates and requires that we defend it whenever someone goes against it or someone tries to violate that sanctity and dishonor ilm. وقد ظهر هذا الانتصار عند أهل العلم في مظاهر. And this manifests, this defense of ilm manifests in the works of the scholars في مظاهر, in different forms. What are those forms? منها نعم اقرأ يا أخي الرد على المخالف.
نعم الرد على المخالف فمن استبانت مخالفته للشريعة رد عليه كائنا ما كان حمية للدين ونصيحة للمسلمين.
أحسنت. One of the manifestations of it was الرد على المخالف, how to preserve ilm, how to preserve Sharia. To preserve Sharia and to preserve ilm, you refute the ones who wrongly attribute things to the Sharia, or who attribute things that are false to the Sharia. You refute them in the gentlest, in the best of ways, in the most effective of ways. Remember the word effective. So this will help you judge whether you're supposed to go gentle or harsh. Sometimes harshness works. With your son, with your children, the harshness will work. You are looking for the most effective of ways. Not always being gentle is is the most effective. Sometimes being harsh is also important. So remember the word effective. So الرد على المخالف in the most effective of ways. فمن استبانت مخالفته للشريعة رد عليه كائنا من كان. The one whose whose opposition to the Sharia is clear, that he is going against some established ruling in the Sharia, then you must refute him and correct and rectify his mistake, whoever it is. حمية للدين ونصيحة للمسلمين. Two reasons. Because the protection of deen and the preservation of deen is greater than any other interest of the Muslims. Sometimes some people, they say مثلا if any munkar, an evil is committed by the ruler, you cannot denounce it. لا خطأ. The evil must be denounced. You might not mention the ruler himself. Why? Because if you mention his name, يعني he might not accept, يعني because of the dishonor or the damage you did to his reputation. He won't accept it, and rather his ego might be triggered if you mention his name. Many times this happens. The egos are triggered when you rectify someone's mistake by mentioning his name, مثلا, especially when he's of a high rank. طيب. The other problem is that you might get into trouble with the ruler himself. Okay, you might be jailed, or you might be, subjected to some sort of punishments, etc. But the munkar itself, the evil, must be denounced. Why should it be denounced? Because the preservation of the deen is greater than the preservation of the rank of the ruler, greater than the preservation of the lives of the Muslims. The deen shouldn't be changed. In the Islamic Sharia, when we put the masalih into the order, the interest in the masalih, the greatest maslaha is the hifdh din, preservation of the deen. Then hifdh nafs. Then comes the preservation of the life of a Muslim. Then hifdh al-ird, the honor of a Muslim, and then the rest, hifdh al-aqli wa hifdh al-mal. But the most important is preservation of the deen. If you keep quiet and silent to a munkar, and you don't denounce it, and you don't mention, clarify to the people that it is wrong, what will happen is that today people like you know that it is wrong. Tomorrow you will go away, you will be replaced by people who were born in a society in which this particular evil was seen as something normal, and the evil will be normalized. Normalized it will start being considered as haqq. Subhanallah. Not just something that's mubah, as haqq, that should be done. Music, few years back, haram. Today, the people are trying to make it look like the symbol of moderateness, that we are moderate Muslims. We listen to the music. We are open to musical festivals and events because Islam does not prohibit music. You see, something that was haram is now being considered as the symbol of moderateness. So this is dangerous, ya akhwan. So you must always denounce the evil. Even if you think that someone will not rectify his mistake, denounce it. Why? So that the haqq remains alive in the minds of the Muslims. Muslims remember that there was someone named Abu Bakr, Abdullah, or there was someone named Ali, there was someone named Rayyan who used to say that this is wrong. فالحق يعني ينبغي أن يبقى حاضرا في الأذهان. Even if the people are not acting upon it, even if that is the case, if it remains in the minds and hearts of the people, one day they will come back. But if they start considering it as halal, then you will have to يعني do a very tough job to first convince them that it's haram and then يعني encourage them to leave it. نعم اقرأ يا أخي. ومنها هجر مبتدعي.
ومنها حجر المبتدع ذكره أبو يعلى الفراء إجماعا.
هجر المبتدع, one of the ways of preserving ilm was to abandon the person of bid'ah. Now, when is the person of abandoning the person of bid'ah يعني supposed to be done? Whenever it is beneficial. And if it is not beneficial, for example, if you abandon him, he will go on and make a sect of his own, and he will cause division amongst the people, and his da'wah will increase. Then in this case, you shouldn't يعني abandon him, rather rectify him, correct his mistakes. Don't abandon him, otherwise he will grow stronger. So when you rectify or refute, when you refute the person of bid'ah, then that is better, because it will weaken him. You know, when you are in majority, abandoning a person of bid'ah will weaken him. But when they are in majority, abandoning them wouldn't weaken them. It would only يعني strengthen them. So you have to look into the مصالح المفاسد. نعم. فلا يؤخذ العلم.
نعم. فلا يؤخذ العلم عن أهل البدع لكن إذا اضطر إليه فلا بأس كما في الرواية عنهم لدى المحدثين.
You're not supposed to take ilm from the people of bid'ah, but if you are forced to do so, like the example of muhaddithin, the hadith is with a person of bid'ah. Now, no one else has this hadith, so I have to take from him. Or مثلا, there is the only person who knows a particular ilm in the country, the only person who knows, let's say, nahu and sarf in my city. So I can learn nahu and sarf from him and beware his bid'ah as much as I can, and just learn from him nahu and sarf and suffice with it. Now. But generally, you're not supposed to take ilm from the person of bid'ah, generally, for your own safety. Now, منها زجر المتعلم.
ومنها زجر المتعلم إذا تعدى في بحثه أو ظهر منه لدد أو سوء أدب.
One of the ways of preserving ilm is to rebuke the student if he if he crosses the limit. If he crosses his limits, you rebuke him and you tell him that or if he مثلا ظهر منه لدد, if he is يعني arguing or he is and he has lack of adab, then in this case you rebuke the student. نعم. وإن احتاج المعلم إلى إخراج المتعلم من مجلسه, if he even requires to throw him out of the majlis, he is زجرا له, to rebuke him, he does so. If it's going to be effective, he can throw him out of the majlis as well. كما فعل سفيان وكما كان يفعله شعبة مع عفان بن مسلم في درسه. Like Sufyan would do, Sufyan ibn Uyayna perhaps, and شعبة بن الحجاج would do with Affan ibn Muslim. نعم. وقد يزجر, sorry because we were running a little late, الله المستعان. وقد يزجر المتعلم بعدم الإقبال عليه وترك إجابته. He might be rebuked for not focusing in the dars, or he might be rebuked not necessarily by speaking to him, but sometimes by not paying any attention to him. He asks a question, مثلا, or he talks to Sheikh, and the Sheikh ignores him. This is one way of rebuking and expressing that the Sheikh is upset with him. وترك إجابته. فالسكوت جواب. Sometimes silence is the answer. قاله الأعمش. ورأينا هذا كثيرا من جماعة من الشيوخ. We have seen this a lot from a number of scholars, منهم العلامة ابن باز. فربما سأله سائل عما لا ينفعه. Sometimes a questioner might ask him a question that is not beneficial. فترك الشيخ إجابته. The Sheikh would leave and would not answer his question. وأمر القارئ أن يواصل قراءته, and he would ask the reader, the reciter, to keep reciting, continue. وأجابه أو أجابه بخلاف قصده. Or he might do something else, and that is that if he understands from his question that he wants something evil out of it, he would give an answer opposite to what he wanted from him. طيب نقف هنا ونكتفي بهذا القدر، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك، نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت، نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.